quarantined and we're running. I'm just so excited. I have a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. Number one thing, I took my Sabbath, you guys, for my very, very first time on Friday, the day they launched $20 codes. And if you aren't familiar with Sabbath, I'm actually still learning about Sabbath. Like, I know it's a day of rest. I know, what it means, but I want to learn more about it. So some of you guys, maybe you're not religious and you're like, what is this Sabbath talk? Like, what did I sign up for? I was the same when I first signed up. I've always been Christian, faith-based, but when I heard Sabbath, I was like, isn't that with like I was just so confused. Like, what religion does that? Is that my religion? I was very confused. So just know, you guys, take it how you want it. You look at it as a day off. You look at it as a day of rest. Call it a Sabbath, whatever. But it was great. I want to thank Tavia and my other sideline sister, Taryn, who, I wasn't going to take my Sabbath. I literally was like, well, I planned this one wrong. Like I said I was going to do it Friday, but I'm not going to. And they both were like, no, you're going to. And I was all, no, I'm not. Like, how can I do this? And you guys, I worked really, really, really hard the night before and that morning. And you guys, I still signed up 2 distributors. But the best part about my day, the best part about like what happened with Sabbath was that my team killed it. My team killed it. And it was just such confirmation that I was doing the right thing. So you guys, take your days off fully, like do what you got to do, pick those days. Like Cami said, you don't need permission, but it's almost like when she said you could take 2 half days. And what do we mean by taking it off, you guys? It's literally not having your phone. Okay, maybe you aren't in a place where you can leave your phone at home and leave. I've got kids with their phones, so I know if there's an emergency, they've got a phone, right? I've got a spouse that has a phone. So I left my phone on my nightstand for almost 24 full hours, and it was the best. So it's not just taking a break from it works. It's taking a break from social media. It's getting your mind right and all those things. So I just encourage all of you to look at the calendar for this upcoming week and look at what day you might want to do your Sabbath on, or half day. I want to talk to you guys too real quick about distributor host to post. I feel like that is really, really what worked for my team. And those of you that were on my power hour last week, is when you guys have put a number 1 in the chat if you use host to post, put a number 2 in the chat if you either don't or you're not comfortable with it. And it's okay, because I was number 2 for a very long time. Very, very, very long time. So it looks like most of you guys so far are comfortable with host to post. You're working host to post. Looks like Leticia, you're getting comfortable with it. You're learning it. I tell you guys right now, you need to run with it. You need to get all the tips that you're going to get, and you need to run with it. And there are very simple methods to make it not confusing. So I encourage you to show up to the power hours that are offered by either Tavia's team or my team, so you can see what it's about. But my question for you is, if you are going for a rank up, okay, you either need to box yourself in for diamond, or because you have 0 box, you don't have distributors there. So you're like 2 distributors away from diamond. Okay. Or let's say you're boxed for diamond, but you've been boxed for diamond for 6 months and there's not a lot going on there. Then that means that you still need to focus on distributors, because you need new blood, you need new people, you need new excitement, right? So what I encourage, especially you guys, today, tomorrow, and the 9th, if I were you, now go to your upline, maybe they're going to give you a different suggestion, but what I would tell you, and Yatika, I want to shout you out because I know that you were on my power hour and we got to work together. And because she just focused on the opportunity host to post, she literally got her 2 distributors that she needed to structure herself for diamond. So you guys, if you're still trying to structure yourself for that rank on that promotion, you need to be just focusing on opportunity host to post. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. When somebody says, sure, I'll do a post for you. Here it is. I'm going to put it in the chat. Sorry. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Now, some people are going to freak out about this. and I kind of did it first, but I'm so glad I got out of my comfort zone and did it. So this is what I use. Obviously change the name. I put my phone number on there. You guys, people can find your number anyway. They really can. If they want to find your number, they're going to find your number. Okay. I love the best thing I love is after I get up a bunch of distributor host to host opportunity, this one here, and all of a sudden my text message is going off. Social media opportunity, social media opportunity. It works, you guys, legit. Like I get so many texts by this host to host. So also the other thing I wanted to say in there is some of you guys might have just signed up and you're like, you know what? I don't want to put she's beyond successful because I'm not yet. You said yes to this opportunity. You're working this business. You are successful. Don't let a rank define you. Okay? Just because you're not diamond yet, just because you're not ruby yet, does not mean you are not successful. Okay? So I want you guys to start using this host to post every time somebody says they're going to do a post for you. And I know a lot of us are using the message where they can choose to either do a sample or they can host a post for you. Even if they just do the sample, you guys, I'm still asking people, do you want to do the post for me as well? And they all said yes. So if they say sample, say get your sample sold, get it done. But second, ask them, did you want to do a post for me as well? Any questions at all about distributor, host to post in general? I just really feel like this is working for our team. We're crushing it with enrollments with DTs, and it's been great. I know Tavia is going to talk a little bit about follow-up, but I'm going to tell you guys what I love. I love something called Follow-Up Friday. So everything that you do this week, work your butts off. Thursday nights, I know our team offers power hours in the evenings. If you guys have power hours that you can get on those power hours, you guys, and literally update your list with all of your potential customers, all of your potential distributors. That way, Friday morning, when people are getting paid, you want to be the first one in their inbox, reminding them that they want to place an order. Because if you wait until Friday night and Saturday and Sunday, they've already spent the money that they could have used to place the order or join your team. So I always encourage follow-up throughout the week, yes, but we hype it up on Friday morning power hours with me. We literally do follow-up Friday. And so that one is super fun as well. Ashley said that's what I use. I got 3 distributors last month and 3 this month already, and it's only the 7th, you guys. So you guys, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like literally don't read that and go, oh, that's not going to work for me. Or don't ask 2 people to post it and you don't get any text messages and you go, nope, it doesn't work for me. It only works for Ashley Harmon. It only works for Heather. It's the numbers game. Every person that says they'll post for you, have them do this post until you are structured for the rank that you are going for. All right. So that's it for me. Tavia, go ahead and take it away, girl.
All right. I love that. And one thing I like to do is I like to get my distributors on board by the 15th. Like if you guys are pushing for a promotion right now, you know that they extended it for some of us bonuses, like get charted by the 15th. So the last part of the month can be all about volume too. Okay. So guys, I want to talk really fast about polls. Polls is a game changer too. And it may not be that every single one of you that post a poll that you're going to get tons of comments, but what it does is it increases interaction. What I would honestly say that has helped a lot is not only just doing the polls, but it's getting in your stories and actually talking. It is showing your face, them hearing your voice, seeing the crazy life that you have, and actually leveling down to them. It's relating to them and then going into, here's what my life looked like. Okay, it may still look crazy, but here's what I'm doing. Here's what's happened for me. Even if you're 1 day into the business or 5 years into the business, there's something that you have done that can show someone success, right? So don't underestimate the small wins that many of you get, okay? I know a lot of you guys are using that message that Heather created, and it was like for host to post, and it was like you can either buy a sample or you can post for me. You guys, if you're selling samples, that's success. Don't downplay that and allow yourself to get on there and hands-free. Put the poll up. Yes, people may not vote, but I'm telling you, people are watching. And every single person, what you want to do is, and what I love to do, you guys, is whenever you put up a poll, remember on Instagram, it's there for 24 hours. So what I do the next day is I go back and I look at the previous day. I look to see who viewed it. Even if they didn't vote, they viewed it. Hey, thanks so much for the social love. I saw you viewed my story yesterday. Has there been anything that you've seen that seems interesting to you as far as product? Don't be afraid to message them. And if you don't want to message them, interact with them, because that is going to allow them to see your content more, which increases the probability of them viewing your stories, voting on a poll, commenting on a post, and then you're then engaging them and then potentially can see if they're interested in what you do. So don't underestimate that as well, guys. And I think, like Heather said, if it's not broke, then don't feel like you have to do and change up everything you're doing, but understand too that if you're getting in a routine and it's like, okay, nothing is working, then you need to learn how to pivot. And you need to learn, hey, we're throwing all of these resources at you, and definitely see like, okay, I did this for a while. It worked at one point, but this season it's not working and I need to shift. Okay. So polls, getting yourself out there as far as hands free, and then follow up. When Heather talks about follow up Friday, you guys, that is a huge, if you're not at least doing follow up Friday, you need to be. But when we say follow up too, understand it doesn't just have to be on Fridays. If you guys have a potential that you don't want to wait longer than 2 days, and 2 days puts you at Wednesday, follow up. For those of you, one tip, if you're not getting a date to follow up with, you're doing yourself a disservice. One thing I love to do is someone's like, well, no, I don't think I can do that right now. Oh my, I totally get that. Would next Friday work with you? Or, hey, you know what? I can't do it until I get paid next. Okay, when is that? Is that this Friday or next Friday? Don't be afraid to make them give you a date. I think that because sometimes whenever they say a date or they're tied to it, sometimes they're more likely to actually follow through and commit to it because they know you're going to be following up with them. And for those people that are still scared and nervous, guess what? You may go to follow up with them and you may be already blocked. That's happened. I kid you not. Some people get so freaked out that they're like, okay, oh my gosh, she just needs to go. I'm going to block her after I tell her Friday. It happens. So don't not continue doing that, because you're going to weed out people that aren't meant to be in your business anyway. And you're going to connect with the people that are. But here's my little thing for you guys. If you guys are getting a date and you have it in your calendar ready to go, it is your responsibility to follow up on that date. And if you don't, then you drop the ball. And if they don't have the money then, or if they're not interested after that date, hey, that's almost like on us, right? Because the worst thing that could ever happen, and this has happened to me, and I don't know if it's happened to anyone else, is you forget to follow up. And I kid you not, that next week you see her posting about it works, but boo, she's not on your team. Okay. And you're like, whoa, what team are you on? You can't get in your feelings. You never followed up. It happens. So don't be that person that didn't take the time to follow up with someone after they told you to follow up, or after you knew you should have followed up, because they're going to go and enroll with someone else because they asked, because they followed up, because they followed through. The fortune is in the follow-up, guys. You think that many of us on here are super successful 100% of the time by the first conversation. We're not. It takes follow-up. It takes, interaction. It takes polls. It takes hands-free. Host to post is the one way that you sometimes can leverage an instant conversation and sign a customer or get a sample sold. So why aren't we doing that if we know the probability is higher with host to post? But on the flip side, you also need to understand that there has to be a consistent other level of work that happens. And that's the posting, that's the polls, that's the interaction, that's all the other content and stuff that we do aside from host to post. So those are a few things that we're doing, our teams are doing separately, individually. And like we said, you don't have to necessarily change the game and do all of this, but I would encourage you, we challenge you to do some of this. And if what you're doing now isn't producing, and when we say not producing, enrollments, guys, if you're not signing customers and distributors, something isn't working. And you can't necessarily say, I'm doing all the things, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, because I'm going to tell you right now, I kid you not. And I think that sometimes we like to say we are so that we're not having to self-reflect and really dig down deep to find out what the problem is. But if you're not enrolling and you're not signing customers and distributors using the standard general things we all are using, then there's something that needs to be fixed. Because I'm going to tell you right now, none of us are lucky. Absolutely none of us are lucky. I don't believe in that when it comes to business. We work very hard. Here's the thing, the process works, but we may not work it. So I think when it's all said and done, we have to do some self-reflection. If we're not enrolling, we're not producing, we got to ask ourselves why. We got to start peeling back the layers to figure out, okay, what is it that we're doing that isn't producing? How do we shift it? How do we change it? How do we improve it? Okay. So those are a couple things. I don't know, Heather, I know we have a couple minutes. I want to give Heather as much time, but did you want to quickly say any or do any recognition for your team? Or even Shauna, Gina?
We're gonna do a power 30
Okay, cool.
within our team. But so we'll do the recognition there for sure. And then if you want to, or if you already did,
Yes.
either way as well.
So so I know you guys, my team already knows I go live every single day in our page and we do recognition from the day before, but I want to shout out some of you guys this last week. You guys have been showing up and showing out. You guys, we literally have one new charted double diamond, Allison. And that's amazing. Yeah, amazing. Allison is charted for double diamonds. We have Vicky, who has charted emerald for the first time, which is crazy. Charnette is on here. She has charted ruby for the first time. Felicia, she's been charted ruby for the first, she's been charted ruby and she will go ruby this month. We've got Yatika, who charted diamond. That is huge. Yes, my girl Tashima's not on here, but she too has been charted diamond for quite some time, but we're improving that. Who else? Tracy on here. She is killing it with distributor enrollments. I think you had 3 in one day? Literally, I think 3 in one day. Yeah, 3 in one day, you guys. So she has charted herself a pretty solid diamond. We're excited about that. I know Hannah may or may not be on here, but she's been enrolling. Her team, Deborah, has been enrolling. I know Deborah's on here. Shout out to you, sister. I know she's like, oh my gosh, I'm almost ready for Ruby. And so it's so exciting, you guys. But needless to say, you guys, we've got Team West Coast. We got this West Coast, you guys West Coasters here. I don't know if it's something in the air over there, but we've got a team out there. Angels team who's just killing it. You guys are like signing left and right. And it's just exciting to see. So just know that we're just excited for you guys. All across the board. I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for what these teams are doing. And like Heather said, this has been an explosive week. And isn't it nice sometimes, you guys, to have weeks like this where it actually reinforces a little bit of like, I don't know, the hard work that you guys do. And it feels good to get like the fruits of it. You know what I'm saying? So I just want you guys to know, for those of you that were showing up and showing out, like it's been awesome to watch you guys. So I'm excited to see what the rest of the month is like for you guys. Patricia's not on here too, but she's another one I'll shout out. We all know Patricia, Miss Patricia, bam, bam. Okay. But she is actually charted for diamond herself. And she will be more than likely promoting to at least ruby, if not emerald, this month, you guys. And she's 2 months into the business, so we're excited to watch her kind of go bang. So that's the recognition I wanted to do, you guys. And I even see Vanessa. Look at Vanessa. Oh, I see you, girl. She's a part of Team West Coast. But yeah, you guys are pretty awesome to watch. And even you guys on Heather's and Shauna's team, I just have to say, I'm in your guys' team page. I don't know if you guys know. But I love watching you guys like hit like sample team. I'm telling you, you guys are just, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And like Heather said, I know we didn't get conference. And I know some of you needed conference. I wanted conference so bad, but needless to say, I think this is forcing us to have to connect and interact on levels we never had to before. And I think it's forcing us to dig really deep to find inspiration, motivation, and just drive from different places than we ever have before. Whether we had conference or not, many of you guys were doing events. I know you guys on the West Coast were doing events. And now that you're not having that, it's all about pivoting. So I think that, I want to applaud all of you guys, because this hasn't been an easy transition for a lot of us, depending on how you first worked your business. But we're doing it, y'all. We're doing it. So these teams on here, you guys, we're going to go Shauna, triple. Right? Triple diamond, presidential for Miss Heather. You guys, we're excited. So we just want you guys to know we appreciate you guys showing up. We're excited to hear what Miss Heather has for us. I'm like, okay, girl, am I going to cry? Am I going to what's going to happen in this moment? But I'm excited for her. So you guys, we're going to hand it over to Heather. I did tell my team, she's actually, you guys, I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Many of you guys know her, but I really want you guys to hone in, focus, turn your cameras on, like Heather says all the time. Be present for this because she didn't have to do this for us, but she was available and willing, and we're excited to hear what she has to say. And this is really gonna help set us all up for the beginning of the month, you guys. Okay. All right, Miss Heather, you take it away, sister.
Hello, hello. So that was like a really good setup for what I have planned for you guys. So I'm gonna shift gears a little bit, but what Heather and Tavia were saying about just the process of this business, it works, right? Like if you do the things, it definitely works. But so if you do them, they work. But what keeps us blocked and preventing us from doing the process is usually judgment and fears that we have within ourselves. And so today tonight's going to be focused on judgments and fears that we may be holding on to. And we're going to approach them in a different way than just talking about them. So what I'm going to have you guys do might be super out of people's comfort zones. So I just ask you to be open-minded, use this experience for you. There's no right or wrong. I love to see everyone's faces, but if you feel like, oh, this is really uncomfortable and I'd rather you embrace the experience, you can definitely turn off your video. But we're gonna just kind of hone into some judgments that maybe you're holding on to that's keeping you stuck in your business. So a little bit about me. I think I've seen most of you guys. I've maybe met you at conference last year, or you're on my team or sidelines. But for those who are more new, I'm the other Heather, Heather A. And I am, almost 8 years next month into the business. And in addition to it works, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. And actually 8 years ago when I enrolled, I was working 60 hours a week and I was just studying to get licensed. So I was like in the process of this whole new profession, working really hard, studying, ready to get licensed. And then I decided to join this business to help with student loans. And Heather and I joke about this. Like I was a very qualified leg, like a very consistent, very strong qualified leg for her. But I didn't build the business quickly at all. I was actually looking back in my E-suite. It took me a year to promote to executive and then a whole other year to promote to Ruby. And as I was sitting here, like putting what I wanted to talk about and do today, it really comes down to judgment I had about myself as a business owner. So here I am, I'm gone through all this school, I owe all this student loans, I'm getting my license. That's a lot of work in itself. And I found when I enrolled, I was posting about the business, I was sharing. It was a little bit different 8 years ago. Social media, we weren't using it like we are now. So I was doing belly to belly, reaching out to friends. And I found that when I would introduce myself to meeting someone new, or I would talk about myself, I would always identify myself as a therapist. Like if someone asked me, like, what do I do? I always told them, oh, I'm a therapist. And I wouldn't even acknowledge my It Works business at all. And looking back, that was a fear and a judgment of mine. For whatever reason, I don't know if I didn't feel like it was good enough for me, or, I just didn't have the confidence in my business. But looking back and how long it took me to promote, I think that was a part of it, is this block that I had in my business, that I wasn't fully in it. I wasn't allowing myself to fully be in it. And that's why it took me literally like 2 years to go to Ruby. And then once it clicked, once I embraced me as a business owner, I promoted to double diamond in 5 months. Nothing else changed, right? Yes, like nothing else changed. I was still working 60 hours a week. I was still a therapist. I still had student loans. The only thing that really shifted was my mindset and my just embracing myself and what I was doing, and not allowing any judgments of what I assumed or what I thought other people were thinking about this, because I had done all this schooling and now I want to do like network marketing. I hope that makes sense. So today I wanted to do, so let me back up. So I'm now a licensed therapist. I own my own private practice. I specialize in OCD and anxiety disorders. I'm certified in Reiki, which is an energy healing, and I'm also certified in mindfulness practice. So today I wanted to kind of invite you to do a mindfulness meditation that is just a way to connect with yourself in a non-judgmental way. I don't know if anyone knows what mindfulness is, but mindfulness really is about just being present and noticing without judgment. And mindfulness doesn't always mean like fluffy, nice, lovey-dovey feelings. It's sometimes just connecting with, in the present moment, how do I feel? And if it means that you're sad, you accept it. If you're anxious, you accept it. If you notice you're judging yourself, you accept it without judgment. And it takes a lot of practice. I try to practice it myself all the time. It's not always easy, but it can really connect you to yourself in different ways. So if you've never meditated before, it's okay. I'm going to kind of guide you through. There's no right or wrong. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it with your screen on, you can turn off your cameras, because I'm going to ask you to get comfortable and close your eyes, and I'll kind of walk you through. So right now, if everyone can kind of just get a little bit comfortable, get seated in, get grounded. It's best to put your feet on the floor. If you have something soft, like I have a blanket, something soft to kind of connect with, you can do that. You can close your eyes. And if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, a lot of times people will just kind of look down, or you can keep them open. It's whatever your practice is. So, all right, so get comfortable, close your eyes. And I just want you to take a few moments to take a few deep breaths in. Take about 3 deep breaths in, and then after that, just kind of go back into like a normal breathing. Don't pay too much attention. Kind of get into a steady breath. Now, as you're connecting, I want you to start envisioning yourself as that business owner that you are, and your business as a whole. And while you're thinking about your business and you as a business owner, just pay attention to any judgments or fears or thoughts that might pop up with this. It could be certain images, words, phrases, particular fears or feelings that are popping up. Whatever it is, just notice it. Now, for some, it could just be one judgment or fear, and for others, it might be multiple ones. But just take a moment and notice possibly maybe one judgment that is really prominent in the present moment, and hold on to that one. Let that just kind of sit in front of you. Allow it to be present with you. And if that seems difficult, you can even say in your head or out loud, yes, or it belongs. But whatever fear, judgment that's popping up, just allow it to be there with you. Invite it in. It belongs right now in your present moment. Good. So now take that judgment that's with you, and I want you to tune in to where are you feeling it in your body. Turn inward and notice what's your inner experience with this. Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in a certain place in your body? Tune into how that's feeling. Notice any emotions that might come up with that as well. And if this is difficult, a way to connect that makes it a little bit easier is putting your hand on your heart and seeing if that makes a difference, if you feel something different. And remember to breathe, just breathe. As you're sitting here with your feelings and where you're tuning into your body, I want you to start to call in a higher power. And that can be different for anyone, for everyone. If that higher power is God, Buddha, a loved one, yourself, just allow that higher power or loved one to come into your space. And I want you to bring in that loving presence that it gives you and tune into how does that feel for you, for that presence to be? Where do you feel it? What would they say to you? Would they give you a different gesture, a loving gesture? Something that's just loving, kind, nurturing. Whatever that is, just sit with it. Let it be. And breathe. Take just a few more moments with that loving presence, nurturing you, whatever it's telling you or giving you, just be present with it. Take maybe about 3 deep breaths, and when you're ready, I want you to move around, open your eyes whenever you're ready. So now I want you to take a note. If you have a notebook or a pen, I want you to write, if I let this go, if I let go of this judgment, what might happen? So write that and then fill it out, and then you can either write your experience, what popped up for you, and if anyone wants to share, that would be fabulous too. You guys can take a few moments to journal a little bit. So again, it's, if I let this judgment go, what might happen? And if anyone wants to share their answer to that particular piece or just their experience, feel free to share.
Okay, so I'll go. What I wrote down for this part was, if I let the judgment go, then I would be forced to not have an excuse to be successful. So like the fear that kind of rose to the front for me was like, this is the best I'll ever be. Like, this is it. Like, triple was the best and the highest I could ever go. And so then when I wrote this, it was like, if I let it go, then I don't have an excuse to fall back on that. This is exactly it, if this makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. We have to accept all of our parts. So that's why it's helpful. Mindfulness. I love mindfulness because it's not just to be like, I love myself, right? Like, we all should love ourselves and be kind to ourselves, but we also have to acknowledge and accept the judgments and fear that pop up. And depending on where we're at, if we're talking just in this business, our judgments and fears are going to shift. Like I wanted to share just in the beginning, my judgment and fear I had. I'm not there anymore, but do other fears and judgments pop up? Oh, yes. So it's a constant process of acknowledging and accepting. And a quote I have from Carl Rogers he's a psychologist, is, when I accept myself as I am, then I can change. And I love that because there's parts of us that we resist, right? And I focused on just business, the judgments that we have with business, but this applies to everything. We have to accept all of our parts, because when we do, that's when we have the space to change it. And that was the point of this, is acknowledging these judgments that are happening is creating space in your brain and in your body to now produce change. That makes sense. I felt sad. Awesome. I love the nurturing part. It's so cool. It's so powerful. So powerful. Anyone else?
I have one. Sorry, I don't have my camera on because I'm like cooking dinner, listening, meditating all at once. I wrote that if I let go of this judgment, I would have to step forward fearlessly because I wouldn't have the excuse as to what would be causing me not to do so. But also, I would have to accept that I really am in charge of my own success, as opposed to falling on the excuse that the reason I wouldn't be is something circumstantial, but that it's me, it's my responsibility to do that for myself. Just because for me, I feel like I give myself an excuse to bow out because I'm afraid. I get afraid that if I misstep, then, I'll mess it up. I have to really believe I'm supposed to be here and that I can do this. And so that was part of my thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Once we acknowledge that fear, now it's not an excuse, like both of you guys are saying, right? Now you can't use that. Awareness is so powerful. It creates that space to do something different. And that can be scary in itself, but there's forward movement. The only way you're going to know if you're going to, do anything different is to keep moving forward. The only way you fail, and we know this, is you stop working. Anyone else? How was that? Just in general, was it weird? Was it powerful?
I can go a little bit. I can kind of talk a little bit, Hez. I have kids in the room, a little bit distracted, but I feel like just in general, this was amazing because maybe people have never ever meditated before. I have, but I mean, God, maybe once a year something happens, it's like an event or something. But I know for me, I felt it like in my heart, and I felt it like in my arms, like a tingling in my arms. And I think it just especially like I have you guys are on my team, you're on my team, my dream, you know, like my life is nuts. But I think that you guys, that was 5 minutes to just sit down and breathe and sit with your thoughts. And I think that that alone could speak volumes for like the possibility of being able to connect with yourself. So, you know, even with me a little bit distracted with kids in the room and everything, it invoked emotion and calming. And I think that that is a really great practice that anyone could do, even if they don't know what in the heck they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And this was like a very quick kind of, it can go much longer. But I wanted to kind of get it all in and not go over too much. But I'll put it in the chat, but it's called RAIN, where you recognize, you acknowledge, you investigate in your inner self, and then you nurture. It's a way of doing mindfulness. And it's super easy when you start getting into it or just noticing it. But Shauna had a good point. You know, we have busy lives, and it's good to be able to, we have to check in with ourselves. We tend to put ourselves on the back burner. But one thing that I do is I do a mindful minute. And sometimes I've been on Power Hour and it's gone off, but I have an alarm set on my phone and it goes off. For me, I chose like 9:15 at night because I'm usually not with clients or doing anything, you know, I'll be somewhere else or by myself. But I have an alarm on my phone that goes off, and it's just an alarm to remind myself, hey, check in. I call it the mindful minute. And I just check in with myself. And sometimes I'm like, I was at a basketball game with Heather and it went off when we were standing there, and I turn it off, but I just do a quick check-in in my head. Like, where am I at? How am I feeling? It's a split second. It's not a big meditation, but it's just a moment for me to be like, okay, where am I at? And sometimes I'm super frustrated or sometimes I'm like just very relaxed, but it's just a moment for me to check in, like, where am I at? How am I feeling? And then you can kind of move on. But we have to check in with ourselves. We have to stay connected. And the really important piece is we have to stay connected to our bodies. Our bodies give us clues. Like Shauna said, she felt it in her arms. I usually feel a lot in my shoulders, and I feel restless. I have this energy in me that I feel like I need to move. And that's usually my anxiety or judgment or whatever, but we all feel it differently. So it's good to connect and see where are you feeling in your body and how you can kind of move through it and give yourself that nurturing. And if it's not coming from you, pull from that higher power, whatever that is for you, to give you that loving kindness nurture. So
I was going to say something too about what you just now said too, about like recognizing like where you feel it. How many of you guys, even like right now, maybe better because you just got done doing this, but how many of you guys realize if you're on Zoom, if you're driving in your car, if you are just sitting at home, whatever it is you're doing, how many of you guys realize that you're like this all the time? And it's so much tension. And I know, I think Heath, it was you that was like, we talked about being grounded, where you put your feet flat on the ground. And if you can go touch the earth, even better, like ground yourself. I mean, that is like, I feel so like much negative energy when and I notice this is how I am. And it just takes me to like feel grounded, plant my feet on the floor, relax my shoulders. And it's like, almost like it's pushing that negative energy just out instantly. So that's one thing I was going to say. The other part of it is, if you can put what it means in the chat, because I know a lot of my team, and even maybe yours, Tavia, we talk about your 15-minute, like 15 minutes of personal time. And so what I encourage with my team already is that when you wake up in the morning, do not grab your phone. You do not get to grab your phone for 15 to 30 minutes after you wake up. Like, you do all the things first. And so I think something that you can implement, because I know for me, I wake up and then the first thing I do is grab my journal and my prayer of Jabez. And I do that before I can even look at my phone. So I think incorporating RAIN to your mornings will totally set you up for such like a peaceful day, moving forward into that day, especially, and or maybe Heather can suggest, or it probably is your preference, but or doing it every night before bed. Go to bed with like kind of like that cleansing, that ground yourself, kind of get in that state, do the rain, and then go to bed. So that's kind of what I was thinking for me personally, what I'm going to start to implement.
Also too, yes, with our, especially texting and stuff, we're all hunched over. We don't fully take deep breaths when we are texting and when we're emailing and when we're on technology stuff. So we're actually shallow breathing. So to incorporate mindfulness in the craziness of business and follow up Friday, every time you get a notification, you could take a deep breath before you open it. Or, every 5 messages, take a deep breath. So you're actually breathing. And another thing too, pay attention to your facial muscles. We purse and hold our jaw really tight when we're tense. So even in meditation, to remind yourself to like loosen your jaw and your lips, we tend to be like super, super tense. I'll purse my lips, and this is funny, but I like tense I'm like squeezing my legs and butt. Like that's where I hold my tension. I'm like holding on real tight. So I have to like loosen just literally from my mouth all the way to my legs when I'm super tense. So, but I can feel it. So tuning into our bodies is super, super powerful, because you're holding on to some energy coming from that judgment and fear that are our thoughts. So I hope that was helpful. It's a little bit different, but I love stuff like this. So I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to kind of pair what I get to do with clients into my business too, and share it with you guys. So yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. I thought it was really good. Now I have a question for you, Heather. So what do you recommend if, and I don't know about anyone else, but maybe it was just me, because I don't know. But when you were saying like, okay, the first part about thinking about the fear, like if there's multiple, how do you prioritize, or do you just do like one at a time and you sit in it?
It's whatever's most prominent at the moment.
Okay.
So in the present moment, what keeps popping up for you? Because there could be a ton. I actually last week that I had to do this. And one of the ones that we did, I had like a flood of things coming in. And then she was like, just whatever keeps popping up for you. If it's an image, if it's a word, whatever it is, just pick one. Don't feel like you have to do them all. It's just whatever in the present moment is really coming up for you.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, cool. All right.
And the non-judgment piece is so important for mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just about, again, I feel this way, I feel that way. It's just being able to accept that you feel sad, or accept that you're very anxious, or accept that, you feel off. And that clue, that acknowledgement is going to open the door for you to give yourself that nurture and self-compassion that you need. And self-compassion is a big piece of this too. I'm learning more. There's kind of a new thing coming out more and more about fierce self-compassion, and being this action-oriented self-compassion, and not just the lovey-dovey, I love myself, but what do I need to do to protect myself, to motivate myself, to provide for myself? That all comes from self-compassion, and we tend to forget that piece of that. So it reminds me of that, is what do I need to do to keep moving forward in my business if these judgments are stuck and we don't feel like we're good enough, or that we've reached our top, right? And we're holding that block for ourselves. What can we do self-compassion wise to motivate ourselves to get us to that next level and break down those walls? So yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. You guys, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, I think that this is kind of, I don't know about you guys, but like obvious. It's pretty obvious that I don't do this as much as I need to if I have so many things flooding me, but it feels good to like acknowledge it, because I think we do a really good job of ignoring it. and acting as if it's just going to magically disappear. And then it comes out probably in different ways in our life and we just have no idea. But I think it's important, like, you know, Heather J was saying, like, add this to your daily regimen. There's absolutely nothing wrong with getting more personal with yourself. I think that we actually should do that. So yeah, I love that. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything to share?
Yeah, any questions?
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. So I'm kind of glad that we did this. I mean, all of my team members know that my biggest fear is people seeing and hearing me. So during the process, the word that came to me was spotlight. I don't like being in the spotlight. Okay. If I'm going into a place or going somewhere, this is how I am. I won't see you or hear you unless you get my attention. And the place that I felt this was in my gut. And a song came to mind. He touched me. So I think after this, I'll be fine. I think.
Good. You found
Yeah.
clarity, and so it sounds like some relief, right?
Yeah.
That you're okay. You'll be
Yeah.
protected, right?
And I don't even talk like, and during our Zooms, I don't talk to the people.
He doesn't. Absolutely not.
So you're already moving forward right now, right? You've already broken through.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
I feel I am so warm. I am really warm right now.
She's about to go live when we get off. Watch. Just watch her. But no, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you. It's okay to be okay with ourselves. Like, it's okay to accept all of ourselves and acknowledge where we feel stuck, because we all do. Even Black Diamonds, everyone feels stuck. It's just, what do we do with it? And I'm telling you, the more that we can just acknowledge and be aware of it without judgment, again, that is key. It's the judgment piece that keeps us stuck. Now we can move forward. And that nurturing piece gives us just that extra bit to help us move forward too. So.
And when you say, Heather, when you say without judgment, like, you mean like without me like being mad at myself or feeling bad about it, like for feeling that way?
Totally. Like, even in general, if we're having a bad day or we just feel anxious, sometimes we'll get down on ourselves. Like, I shouldn't feel this way. Why am I feeling this way? Or a message, you send a message out and you feel like you said too much. Oh my gosh, I said too much. I'm a horrible salesperson. I suck at this, whatever it is. Like, you're judging yourself for feeling a certain way or doing something versus just acknowledging, like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, or I feel like I said something wrong. A little thing that I do is, instead of saying like I'm anxious or, I feel like I messed up, I'll say I noticed I have the thought that I messed up, or I noticed I have the feeling that I'm not good enough. I noticed I have the feeling I'm never going to be triple diamond. I notice I have the feeling that I'm going to be stuck here forever, whatever it is. But noticing, like, just saying that, and even in our minds, changing that language is so powerful, because it's creating that space to not fully believe what you're saying. Those thoughts are real, right? Like, thoughts are always real, but they're not always true. Thoughts are real, but they're not always true.
That's good. Yeah. And just because you say it out loud doesn't make it true either. Like, oh, I'm never going to trouble. Like, yeah. Right.
Doesn't make it any more real than what it is.
So say that again. I need to hear that again. You say it again.
Thoughts are real. They're just not always true. I'll write it in the.
That's good. I probably have heard that before, but you know, you hear something sometimes and it just hits different.
Yeah.
That hits different.
Real.
Wow, that's really good.
Arts are real,
I like that.
but not always true.
So
Feelings
acknowledge them.
Either. That's
Right,
another
yeah.
one. Feelings aren't facts. If I feel like, we do it all the time with messaging. I feel like they're going to say no, right?
Yeah.
How do you know? Or I feel like I said something wrong. I feel like they're not interested. How do you know? You have no, there's no facts.
Yeah.
Feelings aren't
Facts.
facts. So.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Yay. Okay. Does anyone else have anything to share? Was this helpful for you guys? Show her some love, you guys. She literally, she did not have to come on and share this with us, but I'm glad she did. I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I have more tools to be able to get up in here, right? In our head, because we can be in our head all day long and it's not in the good way, right? So let's try to peel back some of these layers that we all know we have and see what happens. I mean, what is the worst that can happen? Think about it. I don't know. That's how I'm looking at this. What is the worst that could happen if I choose to sit in something that is glaringly coming to the forefront of my head every single day? You know, so I think that's awesome.
You're welcome. I know. I'm glad that I could be here. I went back to school, which is why I haven't been as present. I'm finishing my doctorate program, but I'm on spring break this next week. So I was able to have a little bit more free time. So I told them, I was like, I have this idea and I want to do it. So I'm glad that worked out.
Yes, it did. Awesome. All right. Miss Heather J, do you have anything else? I'm going to stop the recording here.
No, I think that's it.